we're diving into a tough one today. You've brought us this incredibly tragic story out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
A fatal shooting right inside the Letcher County Courthouse.
It's, it is the kind of story that makes you catch your breath. You know?
Yeah.
A sheriff sworn to uphold the law fatally shoots a judge inside a courthouse.
It's crazy.
It shakes the foundation of what we expect from our justice system.
Absolutely, and that alone makes this case so compelling. September 19th, 2024, Letcher County Courthouse in Whitesburg, Kentucky. Sheriff Shawn Stines shoots and kills District Judge Kevin Mullins, then surrenders, charged with first-degree murder.
Right.
It sounds almost too straightforward, like a scene ripped from a legal thriller, but this is real life with real consequences.
And real lives forever altered. What we're trying to unpack here is the why. What could lead to such a drastic escalation? News reports mention an argument, but the details are still frustratingly vague.
Okay, so let's get into that. An argument in a courthouse, while maybe not an everyday occurrence, probably isn't unheard of, right?
You're right, emotions run high in courthouses. Think about it. You have people from all walks of life, often at their most vulnerable, facing life-altering decisions. Add to that the weight of the law. The potential for conflict is inherently there.
That's true. But still, for an argument to turn deadly.
Exactly. Which is why this unknown argument is central to the whole case. It's like a missing puzzle piece. Without it, understanding Sheriff Stines' motive and really grasping the tragedy of Judge Mullins' death is that much harder.
So let's talk about the individuals involved, starting with Judge Mullins. What can we glean from the information you've gathered?
Well, everything points to Judge Mullins as a dedicated public servant, deeply respected in his community. He'd been a district judge since 2009, consistently reelected.
Wow.
Which speaks volumes about the trust he earned.
And from what I'm reading, his work went beyond the courtroom. This wasn't just a job for him. He was particularly invested in tackling the opioid epidemic.
Absolutely. Judge Mullins was instrumental in establishing treatment programs for offenders, offering a lifeline to those struggling with addiction. What's truly heartbreaking is that he was a force for positive change in a region hit hard by the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
His loss isn't just a blow to the judicial system. It's a devastating loss for a community grappling with a serious crisis.
It's hard to even fathom the ripple effects of something like this. Makes you think about the weight Judge Mullins carried, you know, the lives he touched.
Yeah.
And then you have Sheriff Stines on the other side of this tragedy.
Right.
It's hard to reconcile the image of someone elected to serve and protect with, well, with this.
It's a jarring contrast, no doubt. And it forces us to confront the complexities of human nature. Stines was elected sheriff in 2018, re-elected in 2022.
Yeah.
Clearly, he had the community's support at some point.
You're right. And one article I came across mentioned him taking pride in his department's drug busts.
Right.
Which seems to align with Judge Mullins' own priorities in combating the opioid epidemic.
Yes.
Well, it's a strange juxtaposition considering the circumstances.
It is. And it becomes even more perplexing when you factor in what we've learned about Sheriff Stines' past. Before the shooting, he was already facing scrutiny.
Yeah.
Named as a defendant in 2 federal cases.
Hold on. I don't think we've talked about these lawsuits yet. What can you tell us about those?
One case alleging wrongful termination was dismissed. But the other involving a deputy accused of sexually abusing an inmate.
Oh, wow.
Right there in the Letcher County Courthouse, that's ongoing.
Wow, that's incredibly disturbing. And Sheriff Stines was named personally in this lawsuit.
He was. The allegations suggest he failed to properly supervise this deputy, essentially creating an environment where this abuse could occur. These aren't just accusations about one bad apple.
Right.
They strike at the heart of Stines' leadership and the culture within the sheriff's department.
It makes you wonder if any of this ties back to the argument with Judge Mullins. It's speculation at this point, but were these cases already causing friction between them?
It's definitely a line of inquiry worth pursuing.
Yeah.
Did these lawsuits perhaps put a strain on their professional relationship? Did the pressure of these allegations, the potential damage to his reputation, contribute to the events that unfolded?
Right.
We don't have those answers yet.
You have to wonder about the power dynamics at play, too.
Sure.
A judge and a sheriff, both in positions of authority, both facing scrutiny.
And potentially clashing over approaches to the very issues they were both, in theory, trying to address. The opioid epidemic, court procedures, departmental oversight.
It's a tangled web, and we're left trying to connect these threads to make sense of a senseless act. It's a lot to process, honestly.
It really is.
This case, it's like staring into this abyss of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it all, you have Judge Mullins' family, friends, colleagues, An entire community left reeling.
It's a stark reminder that beyond the headlines, beyond the court cases and the legal arguments, there are human lives forever marked by this tragedy. The news cycle moves on, but the pain, the questions, those linger.
It's true. And in Judge Mullins' case, it's especially poignant. Here was a man dedicating his career to helping those battling addiction, offering them a second chance. To have his own life cut short in such a violent way, it feels like a cruel irony.
It does. And it underscores the deep loss for Letcher County as a whole.
Yeah.
They've lost a judge known for his fairness, his commitment to justice, the impact on the community, on the very fabric of the justice system there. It's going to be profound.
What happens now? What does it mean for Letcher County to lose a judge like Mullins? His cases, the people who relied on him.
There's the immediate disruption, of course, cases delayed, reassigned.
Right.
But the deeper impact, that sense of loss, of broken trust that's going to take much longer to address.
Yeah.
Judge Mullins represented stability,
Yeah.
a commitment to his community, rebuilding that, restoring faith in the system. It's going to be a long process.
And how does a case like this, a sheriff killing a judge, impact the larger conversation about our justice system?
It forces us to confront an unsettling reality. Even the supposed sanctuaries of justice aren't immune to violence.
Right.
It makes you question, are we doing enough to protect those who work within the system every day? The judges, the lawyers, the clerks, even law enforcement themselves. They're all navigating a system where tensions run high and the stakes are incredibly personal.
It makes you think about the emotional weight carried by everyone in those positions, the pressure, the potential for conflict. And we rarely stop to consider that human element.
We don't, and we should, because behind every robe, every badge, every case file, there's a human being trying to navigate a complex and often imperfect system. This case, tragic as it is, reminds us of that fundamental truth.
This is far from over. As more details come to light, it'll be fascinating and heartbreaking to see how this tragedy shapes the community's perception of law enforcement and the very idea of justice in Letcher County. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story as it develops.